Merits of that case aside, the spirit of Rube Goldberg or Thomas A. Edison is engraved in the American character. And in Denton County, Texas, Eric Engberg found the creator of the ultimate television set.
You may recognize this scene. The youngsters sprawled before the TV set, vintage sitcoms before dinner. But there's something extraordinary about the program they are watching. My three sons travel into this living room via a 50,000-mile trip through space, not from their local TV station's transmitter. Bob Cooper, the ham radio enthusiast who lives here, wired together $10,000 worth of parts and came up with a TV addict's version of the American Dream Machine. 36 channels, signals from border to border, even south of the border. Cooper tunes in not TV stations, but the satellites which beam the programs to stations. It is a dial twister's delight.
Does anything so beautiful?
Informal presentation. Obey his words.
Can we do it in the back seat?
Up there. I never did trust a country that speaks two languages.
As a bonus, Cooper gets unbleached Johnny Carson, pay-TV movies, and a dozen pro football games to choose from on Sunday. He says he built this gadget for the same reason men climb Everest.
No one had done it previously on a private individual basis. And that was enough challenge for me, was just to simply see if, in fact, I could do it.
Cooper is taking advantage of one of the miracles of the space age, communication satellites. Several now orbit the Earth, relaying TV signals from place to place for a fee. These signals are intended to be picked up by commercial ground stations for on-the-air broadcast. But they bounce off the satellites in many directions, and anyone with the right equipment can tune them in. Hundreds of electronics enthusiasts are doing just that. Even though the parts cost thousands, and the antennas are quite a bit more unwieldy than a set of rabbit ears. This new brotherhood is semi-secret because many haven't bothered to obtain the required federal license as Cooper has. Gary Brown built a satellite receiver as an experiment, then when it worked, started a cable television business near Dallas. The potential of satellite viewing has forced the Federal Communications Commission to make a hasty review of its policies for regulating the receivers. Meantime, those who tune in on the satellites, like the kids with crystal sets half a century ago, will delight in being able to pull signals from the air that most people don't even know are there. The possibilities are endless. With the right kind of equipment, you can even eavesdrop on satellite-fed news reports, like this one from Eric Engberg, CBS News, Denton County, Texas.
And that's the way it is. Tuesday, October 31st, 1978. This is Walter Cronkite, CBS News. Good night.
I happen to know that Robert Coleman is working on some new TVRO receivers with some guys in Japan these days, Bob.
That's right. They recently offered me the product.
You just can't help but get a commercial message in, can you? No matter how many times we rehearse this, you're going to get one in.
Yes, and he's one of our industry's most frequent travelers to Japan.
Right behind you, perhaps.
I've been there a few times.
Yes, yes. Our next award host went to Japan with me last fall. I had to force him to try to eat raw fish the first time. He got even with me, however. He took a picture of me wearing a suit and a tie, which was the only other time in my life I've ever worn one.
Did that include the sandals?
I did have sandals on then, yes.
Hold up a foot.
A foot? Is that important? A real shoe.
That could only be one individual. I think we all know him and love him, Mr. David Johnson of Paradigm. David's arrived... No applause from the back. David's arrived here a little bit delayed because he had to stop over in Washington, D.C. because he had an extremely unique meeting with Ralph Nader.
Ralph Nader? Why would somebody wanting to meet with Ralph Nader?
Well, David and Ralph discussed the possibilities of having a recall on all of the attorneys in Washington, D.C.
That's an interesting prospect, but I understand that there's a 50,000-word guarantee anyhow.
No, 50,000 pages.
Is that it? All right. Here is a man who is a pioneer of his own sort in our industry. His name is David Johnson of Paraclips. Please help me welcome David.
Our next award goes to a pioneer who predates all of the early efforts of the others being honored here this evening. This man's work, which ultimately would figure so heavily in the development of our small terminal antenna industry, had the good fortune and common sense to become assigned to a project in Stanford University in early 1970, a project funded by NASA to explore how inexpensively TVROs could be created. It happens that his work, culminating in the creation of the first pedal-type parabolic antennas, is especially important to me. I, like so many others here today, owe this man a great deal of gratitude for his early work. May we please see the tape of this man working in Miami SPTS in 1980?
Well, I'm Bob Taggart. I've been in the designing antennas for many years, and just recently we've installed a number of antennas in EATSF experiments in the Denver area, and others have been installed around the world, but recently I started to get turned on again by this whole marketplace, and a number of phone calls and so forth have encouraged me to get back into the antenna business after being out of it for a few years. And I'm part of Chaparral Communications, and we have a 10.5-foot aluminum antenna outside the door here. There are even several combinations of plastic and metal that will work, and over the past 10 years or thereabouts, particularly on the dish that we have out there, because of the changing costs of materials, and originally the entire dish, including the rim segments and pedals, were all out of aluminum, but these days the cost of aluminum, particularly extrusions and tubing, because of energy costs, are just going out of sight. As you can imagine, over the years, the structure of all these dishes will be, because there's so much material involved in a dish, the cost of the material and the cost of energy is going to play a dominant factor in how these things get put together.
The entire industry salutes you for making possible today's modern TVRO antennas. Because of what you pioneered in 1970, I'm standing here tonight. Mr. Taggart, will you come forward and accept your award, please?
I really admire people like David Johnson and Jamie Gowan, who finally made some money in the antenna business. I also want to thank Bob Cooper for getting me back into the antenna business in 1977. He called me up one day and tried to entice me into a business with 4 other people, but fortunately that fell through. I'm very happy to be out of the antenna business, and I thank Bob Cooper, secondly, for encouraging me to get out of the antenna business. If I ever, it's a disease. It's an allergy for which there's no cure. Every time I get into the antenna business, I just lose money. I'm very happy that other people can do a better job of it than I can. I'll just stick to feed horns. Thank you very much.
Welcome to the world of satellite TV opportunities, the magazine that brings you inside information on successful marketing and sales techniques, details the latest in new technology, and lets you see how other dealers increase their sales and profits.
Satellite TV Opportunities magazine is the marketing techniques magazine for satellite TV dealers. Our single purpose is to help dealers increase their sales and their profits through improved marketing techniques.
Satellite TV Opportunities offers insight into the latest trends in marketing, profiles thriving businesses, and surveys what TVRO buyers are really after. Subscribe today by calling 1-800-922-2812. For $25, you get a full year subscription to Satellite TV Opportunities, a magazine full of new ideas that will help your business thrive. 1-800-922-2812. Call today. MasterCard and Visa accepted.
Sometime when we have more time, ask me to tell you about David Johnson's experience while he was a firefighter in Northern California.
Was that the time when he didn't know which microphone button to push and pushed the wrong button?
Yes, and he told the entire western United States about a bug that had attached itself to him in a very unusual place.
I don't think I know that story. By the way, I'm Mary Maniaci. I live in Downey, California, and I'm happy to be here this evening.
And my name is Susan Cooper, and I live on an island that no one can find on the map.
Our next award host is a man who took me aside this afternoon and told me to watch out for that guy, Bob Maniaci. I told him he was 25 years and 6 children too late.
Gus, or Sandy Worth, claims he warned me about my Bob 15 years or so ago. I guess he got to me in time, because we only have 2 children and both of them are working here tonight. Perhaps he will share some of his wisdom with us tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Gus Worth from Delta Satellite Corporation.
Thank you. I wasn't trying to warn you. I was trying to date you. Wise women. This next gentleman is responsible for the important legal cornerstone upon which our industry has been constructed. His interest in home satellite and its unusual legal problems predates the first SPTS held in August in 1979. He was part of the team that successfully petitioned the FCC for 2 important rule changes in the late 1970s. Rules which, before the change, precluded cable systems from installing TVRO antennas smaller than 29 feet in diameter, and rules which made it illegal to own and operate a private home satellite system as we know it today. This man first appeared before us in the Miami SPTS in February of 1980. I'm not that old. Could we see some of this, please?
I'm certainly not here to tell you to form a trade association. First of all, I never give advice free because you don't listen to it. You know, you got to pay for it, and it's like going to the doctor. But I'll let you make your own decision. I'll tell you some stories about things that have happened to others, and then you can make a decision on your own. And also, I have a feeling from meeting several of you and talking with some of you that you're not group-oriented. I can't imagine anybody came here because they wanted to belong to a group. You're in on something new, something that takes a lot of individualism to get into to begin with, whether you're going to be a user of the facilities or a distributor or a manufacturer. And I think there's a lot of people out there that have taken a lot of risks by getting into this business with a lot of the uncertainties that are there. But it's a pioneering spirit, and it's one that I admire. But there are people out there that are interested in your industry, either because you're a threat or a pain in the neck, and they don't really know which at this point. If there is a wide proliferation of home earth terminals, they will lose even more money. So they are very scared of losing money because they own the copyrights and they believe that the product is theirs. And they fought the cable industry for years on this issue and spent millions and millions of dollars both going to the Supreme Court twice and fighting a legislative battle for over 9 years on Capitol Hill. The cable industry is also interested in what you're doing. If you're a cable operator, you want subscribers. And if somebody is watching what a cable operator could deliver to them, and they're watching it for free because they own an earth station, or even if they pay for it, then they're not going to be a cable subscriber. So I would venture to say that by and large, the attitude of the cable industry is don't let this proliferate. But once they have an economic stake in what you're doing, and if that means money out of their pockets in terms of lost revenues, then you have people out there that are going to try and either hope you disappear by ignoring you, or if you become, if what you are doing becomes a threat to them, then they'll try and shut you down.
Richard L. Brown, I never did know that initial was L, made our industry his full-time vocation. Rick kept after us to create a foundation for an industry with a long-term growth potential, and we have prospered. We have stayed in business by following his direction and guidance. He has led us in 3 congressional attempts to outlaw our industry. But with Rick Brown on our side, we have won. This entire industry, as we see it today, would not exist without those important years that began in 1980. Rick Brown has successfully defended us against all attacks and won. I wonder who wrote this. Without Rick Brown, we wouldn't be here. Rick, come on up and get your award. Say a few words.
Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, Bob. I guess Bob is responsible for having me here from the beginning and now again. I view this award as a recognition for having kept the industry quote-unquote legal. Yes, I've gone up to Capitol Hill for 4 years and defended the industry. And yes, I've defended the industry at the FCC and in the courts. And to date, as you know, we have not lost one battle. But the real heroes are those who realize that we should do something about our problems and who asked me to help and who have fully supported that effort. Without them, I would not have had the opportunity to work for you and on behalf of this industry. And the industry would not have had the opportunity to prosper. For years, these have included Clyde Washburn, Bud Ross, Peter Dalton, Russell Keene, Bob Behar, Tay Howard, Jim Rothbarth, and more recently, Bob Duchesne, Don Berg, Ron Wysong, Ted Anderson, and Sandy Worth. These unsung heroes, and others too, own this award, and I salute them. Thank you.